It's there. It's not under sound effects or sound bites because it's a show file. So it's under show files. We use it for every show. It's a segment. So check. There's a quick folder actually where everything should be in that same folder. It's like a shortcut because we're gonna eventually use them all. So check in there.
Trivia.
There it is. Are you okay? Are you okay? I'm sorry. I do that like 3-4 times a show. I torch my ears constantly. Keep the headphone mix on track 1 lower because that's where all the music and the effects are flowing in, and you never know when they're coming in. So sorry about that. I owe you dinner. Sorry. Oh, my hearing is shot now. Huh?
Rising from the swamps of the Meadowlands, in the shadow of New York City, it's the Ray Powers Hour!
This is the Ray Powers Hour. I am on the line with Naomi K, reaching all the way across to Los Angeles. How you doing, Naomi?
Hi, Ray. I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's an honor, it's a privilege, and I've been looking forward to this all week.
Oh, I said the same. Thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to it also, and to having a chat with your listeners as well.
Yeah, and make sure if you haven't already, check out the chat room. It gets a little crazy in there, but, I think you can handle it.
Totally.
Awesome. Now, right off the bat, I hope I can ask you this. It's been driving me crazy since we met. How do you pronounce your surname?
So my surname is Dutch, and if you say it in Dutch, it's like Koningen, but in the English way, it's just Koningin. So it's like got a silent N, and that's exactly why I chose to just use the initial for my music, so Naomi K. But for my acting, I use the full Naomi Koningin, but for my music, it's Naomi K. But yeah, Koningin is how you pronounce it.
Naomi.
It's a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah, I fully empathize because, Powers is not my birth name either. Mine is longer in Polish. And
what's yours?
It's Powierski, believe it or not. And
that's cool.
Yeah, and basically it's Powers in Polish. I mean,
Oh, really?
That's what it looks like to me anyway. I mean, I could be totally off on that, but I'm not the first one to do it. A couple of different uncles and cousins have come here and, they've Americanized. And that, Powers is just what you get out of it.
Yeah, right. So is that what you've changed your name to legally, or you just use that for?
No, it's legal. I actually
right,
changed
okay.
it. It's easier when you get checks and everything else from BMI. It's, no one's misspelling it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And
the amount of times I have to spell my name out phonetically, like K for kilo, O for Oscar, N for November.
It's amazing what one misplaced vowel will do to somebody's day. It's crazy. So Powers, only one person has asked me to spell Powers. I'm like, I will not.
Oh my God, are you kidding? That's so funny.
I wish I was. But no, sometimes, they mishear it. Howard? No, Powers, but that's fine.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So Naomi K works great.
It does, exactly. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And plus also, particularly in America with my Australian accent, a lot of us Australians out here often get misheard. I don't even know why. I think we speak quite clearly, but I often see people looking at me and they're like, what did you just say? But I worked it out. That a lot of times what's happening is that when you start speaking to someone who hasn't perhaps been to Australia or travelled a lot and they're not used to other accents, when you start speaking to them, they're looking at you, and I can tell that they're not listening because what they're doing is they're trying to work out where I'm from and what kind of accent that is. So it's funny that I recognise it now, and then I'll slow it down, and sometimes I have to put on a little bit of an American twang, or if it's in England, a bit of an English twang. Sometimes it just depends on where I am. It's a funny thing with accents. So if you throw words and names like Connigan and things like that into the mix, it gets even more crazy.
Absolutely. Well, I can listen to it all day long. I love the accent, and
Thanks.
I can hear every word you're saying. You're clear as a bell, and the signal is, thank God, the signal is working tonight. So,
Awesome.
so far so good. That's all I can ask for.
Yay! Yay!
So, when did you get to Los Angeles? I know you grew up in Australia.
Yeah, so I moved to LA, like 3.5 years ago now. In to follow my dreams, really. I've kind of been everywhere. I was born in the Caribbean, and which is on a Dutch island because my dad's Dutch. And then we moved to London, and my brother was born there. And then I moved to Australia when I was 4, and I apparently had a very British accent. And we went to Melbourne, which is where my Australian family are. Then my parents decided to have us kids grow up in Brisbane, and I went to school there. And then I left afterwards and went back to London, and then I went to Dubai, and then I lived in New York for a couple of years, which is your neck of the woods, and I love New York. In fact, I love everywhere that I've been. I just love everywhere. The world's amazing, and so all the people in it. But it was just, I was always doing working and in the corporate world and doing my music and acting on the side. And then a few years ago, I had a number of events happen. My mum got breast cancer. She's okay now, but that, with a number of other things, happened, and I thought, you know what, life is so short, and I don't want to be on my deathbed one day wondering what if I had really tried to pursue my dreams, because like I said, I was working in the corporate world, and that was taking up all of my time, and I was only able to dedicate a certain amount of hours a week, if that, to my music and acting. So I thought, right, this is it, now or never, do it. So I kind of packed up all my stuff and gave stuff away and packed up a car, got a rental car, and it was like an elephant in the back because everything was slammed in. And I drove all the way from New York to LA on my own via Nashville and a few other places, and landed here. Yeah, and so it's been great. I love it. It's been an adventure, and there's still and a hustle. But I love it. I love LA. I love America. It's just great. I love the people here too. And if I may say, I love the fact that here in LA particularly, if somebody asks you what you do for a living or what you want to be, you could literally tell them you want to be a ballerina on the moon, and they'd go, awesome, that's so great, I hope you do it, I hope you make it. You know what I mean? Because in other places, I mean, LA, anything is possible. It is the land of dream and opportunities, and everyone comes here to follow their passions. And in most other places in the world, people are just like, you're crazy, that's never going to happen. Whereas here in LA, it's completely the opposite, which is quite refreshing.
Yeah, it's the same here in New York. People come here to be, Broadway actors.
Yeah.
And, absolutely. And, well, thank God, first of all, that your mom's okay now. And you're right. You have to tackle your dreams. And, there is nothing worse than regret.
Nothing.
I shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Totally. I would rather have tried something and not necessarily have it go the way I was hoping it would, rather than have not tried at all. So, I mean, yeah, regret is, I think, the worst thing you can have.
Sure. Listen, I spent the better part of 30 years falling on my ass, and, it's only been the last couple of years that I've been, I'll call it succeeding, I suppose. I think I am. I'm still doing this, so.
You are. You're great. You're amazing. Your show's amazing. Your music's amazing. So, yeah, congratulations. Keep going.
Well, thank you. Well, speaking of music, you're a successful recording artist, and you're also an accomplished actress in both TV and film. Now, this might be a tough question, but which would you find poses more of a challenge for you? I'll flip it. Which comes more naturally to you?
Gosh, I know that it's a hard question. It's one I get asked a lot, but I was in my first commercial when I was 6 years old, and I also wrote my first little song on the guitar when I was that age as well. So I really love both. I've done more as a youngster in the acting world, like I studied acting for 5 years or so in Australia. So I guess in that respect, that is pretty natural for me. But now that I've become a solo artist, beforehand I was in bands and writing music with the band, and now I've become a solo artist. I'm loving this process of writing, and I've just started co-writing with Alan Roy Scott, who's an award-winning writer for many artists like Celine Dion and Cyndi Lauper, etc. And that's the first time I've ever co-written. So as I move forward in the singing and songwriting, the music part of my career, it's evolving and I'm loving it. It's kind of developing. So it's really hard to say. I love both equally, and I feel comfortable doing both. I wouldn't know what to give up. If someone said to me, you can only do one for the rest of your life, I'd be like, oh, I really don't know. It's like if you asked me where I had to choose to live forever and ever and ever, I'd be like, oh, I don't know.
Right.
But,
yeah, how do you choose between an Oscar and a Grammy? I mean, come on.
Yeah, but you know what? It's very common. Like, I think people who are creative in the ways that we are have more like it spills over into writing or acting, and you know, it's very common these days to see people doing that. Like if people have a talent in accounting, they often have a talent in economics or something. You know what I mean? We're an intelligent species, and we have options these days. So I like that we're not pigeonholed into you just have to do that and focus on that. It's like, no, actually, I'm going to do this, and this. I'm going to do whatever what I feel like I'm good at.
I mean, I think that's true in a lot of senses, but I also think that God might have, given you an extra dollop of talent along the way when no one else was looking, because you just seem to be just a natural at both. And I'm sure there are people just banging their heads against the wall, going, "That's not fair. Look at her."
Oh, that's so sweet. I don't necessarily see it that way, but I do appreciate it, and yeah, I never take anything for granted. I know I'm blessed, and I thank God, and I'm very grateful every day that I wake up. And if I'm ever having a moment where it's like, oh gosh, it's a bit tough, I just have to sit there and literally count my lucky stars. I'm like, I'm so lucky. Of course, it's not where I want to be just yet, and it's hard work. But just think, we have a roof over our head, friends and family, and I can access the internet and put food on my plate and stuff. So yeah, and I'm doing finally what I love doing, what I've always wanted to do my whole life, dedicate all my time to it. So you just got to put in the time.
It's true. And, I had a shameful moment the other day, too. I had a temper tantrum and a meltdown over a technical issue. My computer decided to install Windows 10 over my 7, and I actually ranted about it. And it's like, how dare I? I've got the best life in the world, and here I am bitching about something that I could reverse. I did it in 15 minutes.
Yeah,
and
I know, but at least you pulled yourself up on that. That's the thing. A lot of people, it is tough. Life is tough, but it's you have to just get through and find a way to build yourself back up when things are going tough. And I feel that I think also that travel is very helpful in that respect. I've seen a lot of the world off my own back. Like, I've never had anything given to me at all in my life. And I've worked and traveled, and it opens your eyes to a whole new way of living, and you do become more appreciative of what you have and where you're from when you go and see third world countries and people that have nothing, and they're working pretty much like slaves for a few cents or pennies a day. I wish that more people had the opportunity or the desire to travel, because they would be, for sure, more grateful for what they have already.
That's absolutely true. And to have seen it firsthand, I'm sure it gives you a whole new appreciation for what you do have.
Yeah, totally. So, yeah, whenever I've got one of those feeling sorry for myself moments, that's when I have a reality check in, and you're like, come on,
Yeah, I mean, I try to keep my diva moments at a minimum, but, every now and again, you have, like you said, you check yourself and you go, listen.
Yeah. Hey, but this is the 21st century. It is unavoidable. I mean, the way the rat race that it is today, and the hecticness that life now is compared to how it used to be, even before my time. I mean, you're bound to have a stressful moment or two. It's a pretty crazy planet right now.
First world problems. The struggles are real.
They are. The hustle is real too.
So, Naomi, at the top of the hour, I played I Found You. Great song.
Thank you.
Great tempo. Led the show off. Just exactly what was needed. I'd love to talk about the song that's making a lot of noise right now, Take Me Home. And I saved that for you. I wanted to play that with you on the air. And tell me a little about that. What inspired that song?
Thank you very much for your lovely comments, first of all. And that song, when I was younger, the love of my life at the time was killed, and by a crocodile, of all things. So I don't obviously sing about that, but that's a song that I wrote for and about him. I wanted to, I just wanted to do that, yeah, like for and about him, just to leave a mark on this world for the love that we shared. So I actually wrote it a few years ago. I didn't record it until a little bit after that, but I was just sitting there, and my songs, it's quite weird. I don't know if you have it the same way, but the songs just often come to me, and I'll literally write them, and they're done in 10 or 15 minutes. Obviously, you take time then following on from that to tweak it. But that just came through, and I wrote it for him. And then the same thing with the music video. I just sat down one night and I thought, right, how do I want this to be? So it's like almost having someone take over your pen. And then that just came out. And the music video has been doing really well too. So I've had lots of fans that write in and say, oh my gosh, I was bawling my eyes out crying when I saw your music video, because I mean, in a nice way. I don't want people to start crying, making them feel sad, but they're reminded of somebody of theirs that passed away or that they loved, and so they're like, this is so beautiful. So so that was what that song was about. And he died. I just realised I'm talking a lot right now.
That's okay.
But he was working on a crocodile farm, and so my friends and family in Australia who were also very close to him know about this. It was pretty horrific. Anyway, he was crouched down beside a crocodile, and one of the tourists asked a question of him, and he's kind of like Steve Irwin, Anyway, he used his hands to articulate and answer whatever they asked of him, and the crocodile who was beside him got a fright and grabbed Graham by the chest and the head and the neck, and did a death roll with him into the water hole, and then came back up, and apparently some man came out of the crowd with a big pole and started hitting the crocodile in the head, but it wouldn't flinch. Then the crocodile took Graham down again, and then came back up again some moments later, but finally the park ranger came out and shot the crocodile, but it was too late. So it's pretty awful. I mean, all these tourists that saw that was on the news and everything, which is how I know all those details, but the tourists had to get counselling, of course.
I would think.
So, so it's just a pretty, horrific way to go. But he, like everyone says, when someone dies doing something that they love, they just say exactly that, and he really loved that. So, so it's an ode to him.
That is the upside, and I have to say, that's the last thing I would have thought of when listening to that song and watching that video. But you shed some unique light on that, and now I'll probably think of it every time. But it is a beautiful dedication, and it's a beautiful tribute. And I have been telling people to watch the video. We had it last week, as you know, as our fresh cut.
Yeah,
so hopefully, if it got a couple more views, that's
thank
all
you. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I wanted it to be a bit like the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore, how when he dies, he sort of comes back in spirit, but she can't see him, but she can sort of sense something's there, because that's how I am with him. And so when you see my friend who's playing Graham in the video, my friend Mike, he's when he's wearing all black, that's him coming to me in spirit, where I can't necessarily see him, but I can feel like, he's around.
He's over your shoulder,
Yeah. So, but thank you. I really appreciate you playing it, promoting it, and for your lovely comments. I'm glad you like it.
Well, thank you. Well, we talked it up again, so why don't we play it again? And I'll even let you introduce this one.
Thank you. So this is my song called Take Me Home. I hope you like it.
This is the Ray Powers Hour. I am on the line with Naomi K, calling in from Los Angeles. And beautiful song. I play it all the time. Full disclosure, I play it in rotation, even when I'm not on the air, and it's on my favorites now. So,
thank you so much, Ray. That means a lot. I'm so glad you like it, and I appreciate all the work that you do for all of us indie artists, because you are one yourself. So you
Absolutely.
Have a lot of work promoting both yourself and also everyone else. So, I mean, I really mean that. I thank you with all of my heart. It's just, I appreciate it more than words can say.
And I can appreciate it from the artist standpoint. And I know, I wish this was around 20 years ago, internet radio, for all the time that I struggled, years and years, fighting with record companies when you could get a record company to even give you the time of day. Now that the industry has completely changed and it's pretty much decimated as far as structure goes with, record companies and everything else, this is how we have to get our music out now. We're not going to be on the top 5, the songs that are playing all day long in rotation over and over again, like getting hit with the same rubber mallet.
Yeah, that's annoying. But it is so hard, isn't it? Like, just to be heard or seen, because there's so many of us doing the same thing. And it's sad in a way that a lot of people are getting ahead if they have the budget. Like, I always remember when I was in Nashville, this music producer was telling me how he personally knew that Taylor Swift's father had invested $7 million into starting her career. I mean, she's an amazing super talent and would have made it, of course, anyway, but initially having that money opened doors for her that wouldn't have otherwise opened at the time. He got radio stations playing her music because he had the cash to say, look, here, play the music. And, I mean, that's a very well-known fact about that, so it's not like... But for the rest of us that don't have access to those kinds of funds, we're doing it the hard way, knocking on so many doors. So having you just do this is also amazing for us. It's just, that's the hardest thing, isn't it? It's the hardest thing is to get, because there could be the next Madonna, the Beatles, or Elvis Presley, or the Rolling Stones, or whatever out there, but they can't get heard. So so it's just it's a much harder now, this industry, than ever before.
Yeah, it's like a ball player who can hit a ball 500 feet. If there's no scout present to sign him up with a team, he's going to be playing in the toiling in the minor leagues or lower for his entire career. So it's the same thing. It's all about presence, getting out there and being heard. And if I could just be one of the cogs that does this, with the people in Nashville, all the great people in Nashville, our friends around the world, George, and the people in Hamilton, and all the other people have really set the tone for this. And I'm just happy to be, one of the major players doing this. I love having people discover music and, groups of friends that now intersect because an artist brought them together.
And I've met some amazing people the same way, like other interviews that I've done as well, and other artists. It's amazing, and it's the camaraderie is great. We're all in the same boat, and we all just get it of each other. A lot of people who aren't doing what we're doing don't get it. They don't understand why you're doing this when it can be so hard when you can go off and do something else. But when you have a passion for something, when I feel you finally found and decided 100% to focus on what you really, really want to do, nothing can change it. Nothing will stop you from doing that. It's just, I'm so grateful that I found that, as hard as it is. I'm so grateful that I've been able to, I'm in a position to be able to say, right, that's it. This is what I'm doing, and that's it. And to have other people around you that support you in that, when others perceive that as being somewhat crazy, it's just really, it's just so nice to have that support.
Absolutely. This is the Ray Powers Hour. My special guest is Naomi K, calling in from Los Angeles. And I'll tell you, being a two-pronged weapon as you are, I mean, you're doubling your chances at becoming a super-duper star. And to me, it's on the horizon, and it's just a matter of time. Thanks, Ray. I really, like I said, I really appreciate that support so much. It's, and it's very encouraging as well, which people don't realize, to have that, so thank you. But I have, that's another thing that you sometimes get the naysayers that say, you've just got to focus on one of those things. And I'm like, well, I can't actually, because one supports the other sometimes. So absolutely. And also, I think they totally support each other. So why not? Again, we're talking about the people who maybe didn't get that extra helping of talent and blessings and maybe encouragement. Maybe they didn't get the extra hug at dinner time. I mean, there's people that want to hold you back. They're very easy to spot as you go on. Yeah, it's true. And you kind of have to, sadly, sometimes disassociate yourself a little bit from that whilst you're getting to where you're going. I think later on maybe they'll come back and say, gosh, I was wrong, sorry about that. But in the meantime, you can't be around the pessimists of the world when you're trying so hard to do what you want to do. Yeah, I could see you gracefully taking the high road on a daily basis, doing just that. I'm sure there are, people around every corner, especially in LA. It's a snake pit. I mean, yeah, it is. It's true of anywhere, but particularly in LA. Yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of sharks, and I've encountered quite a few of them already. But you know what? I've learned so much from those sharks in terms of just being, because I've been working out everything myself. Not having anyone holding my hand and showing me the way. And by working out myself, you learn the hard way, and you won't forget it. You definitely don't forget it. Well, here's a question for you, and you might have gotten this, I'm sure you've gotten this many times already. If you could work with any actor, co-star with any actor or actress, living or dead, who would it be?
Gosh, any actor or actress. Do you know what? There are so many, but for some reason, I'm just going to give you the name that first came into my head, and I mentioned him before, and I don't know why, but I grew up watching his movies, and Elvis Presley is what just came to me then. He wasn't necessarily the most talented of actors, but I thought he was good. He was clearly a super talented artist, musician. But I went to Graceland when I drove to LA, actually. I went via Nashville from New York and up to Graceland, and you only meant to spend a few hours in Graceland, but I ended up spending, I think, 6 or 7. I just was amazing. Like, this is the house that Elvis lived in. I think he's fascinating and amazing.
Yeah, well, he sold a lot of tickets and a lot of popcorn for a lot of movie theaters, so he made a lot of cinemas happy.
And he was easy on the eye also. Absolutely. I mean, honestly, there's so many actors, but that's just what popped into my head then, so that's what I just talked about.
Okay, well, this might be a consistent question then. I might get a consistent answer. If you could record or perform live with any recording artist, living or dead, who would that be?
Well, actually, my 2 favourite artists in the world are Stevie Nicks and then Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters. So and I know they've performed together too, so if I was ever in a position to record with either of them or both of them together, oh my God, my dreams would have all come true. They're amazing. They inspire me, both of them. I know they're completely different in a lot of ways, but they totally inspire me. That's when I'm writing. So yeah, it would have to be those 2. I mean, there's also Michael Jackson and Prince, and when both of those guys passed away, I shed tears, and I don't normally do that for people that I don't actually personally know. So they were legends too. So if I could do that with anyone that's passed over, those 2, imagine performing with both of them together even. That would be insane. And rumor has it your 5th choice would be Ray Powers. I don't know where I've heard that, but... Yes, totally. I can't believe I didn't mention that. It's because I was thinking it, but it's always in my head. But yeah, totally. There. How'd that name get in there? He's always working his way into these conversations. Ray Powers rocks. Listen. Should be a new slogan. Ray Powers rocks. So, it's a little immodest, but it does have a ring to it. It totally does. Naomi, I wish I could talk to you all night. It's only an hour show, but listen, thank you. Join the chat room. Come back anytime. And when you're in New York, you had better darken my doorway. I want you at the Power Cove. We've got New York pizza. I would love it. You've been here, so. Yeah, thank you. I'm definitely knocking on your door, and hopefully there will be a few beverages involved, and that'd be great. I love over your neck of the woods. It's a beautiful part of the country. If there's one thing that my non-green room is known for, it's actually pink, is the catering and the hospitality. Nobody starves. Nobody goes dry up there. Believe me, anything you could possibly want. Oh, that's awesome. And me being Australian, we're very giving also, so I'll definitely be coming with my hands full too, with a few beverages or 3. That works for me. So real quick, tell everybody out there, I mean, everybody knows how to get music these days, but give it to them. Tell them how they can get Naomi K's music. You can find my music on iTunes, and you can also find my music on Reverb Nation, which is www.reverbnation.com/Naomi K. You can buy my singles there for just 99 cents if you like them, but you can also stream them for free if you just want to listen to them. CD Baby, actually, as well. And you can also stream them on Spotify. Absolutely. I'm a big Amazon fan. You're up there too as well, right? I am on Amazon. I haven't checked recently to see how many songs are up there. I haven't. It's just been so crazy. But yeah, I am on Amazon too, and I am a big fan of Amazon also. I'll be recording new music in the summer, so I'll be able to give you the details of that soon. But that's what's on the schedule, and I'm looking forward to that. So I've got some great new material coming up, and I can't wait to release it and share it with everybody. Well, that's exciting news, and I can't wait to have you back as a featured fresh cut once again when the new stuff drops. Naomi, thank you so much. Come back anytime. God bless, and enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Ray. I really appreciate it. God bless you too. And God bless all the listeners out there. You're all amazing. And I hope you've enjoyed the show too, as much as I have talking to Ray.
Well, have a great night. Thanks.
Thanks, Ray. Bye.
Bye.
The Ray Powers Hour. New Visions Radio.